Masechet Yevamot Daf Zayin Amud Aleph 77a1. If you remember, yesterday we finished off by speaking about the entire concept of Ammoni velo Ammonit, Moavi velo Moavit, Doeg Adomi, the famous Doeg, right? He was Doeg al Hakol. Yeah, Bediuk. Yeah, exactly. So Doeg Adomi, he comes and he was asking the questions against this Svara, saying that really be'emet, they should not be permitted to Kahal. So instead of finding out whether Bichlal, David HaMelech can become Ra'ui le'melchut or not, find out if Bichlal he could come Lavo B'Kahal or not. So what happened? We finished off yesterday by saying that Amasa ben Ish Ushmo Yitra Yisraeli, right? Asher Bala Vigal Banachash, he came and he said, he put on his cherev, his sword, like a Ishmaeli, right? Like an Arab, and he said, Kol mi she'eno shomea halacha zo. Anybody that does not listen to this halacha, right? Yidaker b'cherev will be stabbed by the sword. What is that? Kach mikublani mibetino shel Shemuel al-Mati. This is, right, what we have of a soret, a tradition from the Bedin of Shemuel al-Navi. Yeah, a Navi. Yeah, Shemuel al-Navi, Shemuel al-Mati. He comes and he said, Ammoni velo Ammonit, Moavi velo Moavit. Okay, this is where we finished yesterday. So we are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 lines down. Okay, this is where we finished yesterday. So says the Gemara, Umi meheman. Are you going to tell me now that he's going to be believed to say this in the name of his rabbi? Ve'amar Rabbi Abba Amarav. Says Rabbi Abba in the name of Rav. Kol tamid chacham shemoreh halacha, right? Uva im kodem maaseh amara shomim lo. So imagine right now you have a tamid chacham that he comes and he's going to be moreh halacha, right? Now again, he's going to teach you halacha. Now he's saying it in the name of his rabbi. Okay, so imagine you have one rabbi coming and saying it in the name of his rabbi. Im ze kodem maaseh amara. If he said it before the action. Meaning right now somebody just comes and he says, I heard from my rabbi A, B, C, D. We believe him. Why? Because it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Yeah? No, for sure it's B'Shem, but a kavanah that since it's before the action, so we're going to believe it. But if not, and show me, we're not going to believe it. Imagine right now it's going to come a question in the Bet of Midrash. And all of a sudden when the question comes, conveniently, I come and I say, by the way, my rabbi gave a psak A. I'm not going to believe it. Why? Why did you only tell me the lachana? Because it came up. So now conveniently, you're not believing me. Why? Because I'm going to say, you know what? Maybe it's just some mamtzi, keilu. But really, he never said it. So therefore, the question is, right now, the halacha came, meaning b'maaseh. And all of a sudden comes Amasa ben Ish, and he comes and he says halacha. He shouldn't be believed. He should have said that beforehand, not right now. Answers the Gemara. Shane hacha, it's different over here. Da Shemuelu bedino kayam. Shemuel and the bedin of Shemuel were still around. So the fact that Shemuel and his bedin were around, he's going to be believed even b'shat maaseh. Why? Because go ask. And if you could go ask, it's a gilui minta be'alma. We're not coming and we're not believing you because of din of testimony of this is what you have a masoret. We believe it was as a gilui minta. Gilui minta means that it's something that's going to be revealed. Because a person will not lie and then they're going to go to a bedin and find out that the guy was, lying through his teeth. You understand? It's going to be a very bad reputation. You understand? People know that. People know they're liars. They come, they lie to bedin, but people know them. They know this is a certain type of people. So therefore, you're not going to believe them in anything. You understand? So therefore, that's why it's very, very important. It says over here like this. Yeah? So it says that since the Shemuel and his Betim were still Kayam, that's why it's going to be okay, fine. Says the Gemara, Mikol Makom Kashya. He says 1 second. But nevertheless, it's a question. What's the question? Why is it that a Gioret, Ammonit, and Moavit are permitted to come? At the end of the day, right, it says, Neshe Ammon Moav. They didn't come out. So says the Gemara, this is what they said. Kol kivuda melech penima. What does that mean? That means that the kabod of a malka should be inside, should be inwards. And that's why, right, which perek of Tehillim? Penima. Penima, Memhe. Memhe. That's how I always remember it. Penima finishes with Memhe. So, Kol Kvuda B'Melech Penima, right? Memhe, that's the Siman. That's chapter Memhe, that is the Siman that the woman should always be inside of her house. So therefore, since she should always be inside of the house, we're not going to punish the women, right, from the fact of that, they didn't come out to give the, the bread and the water to the Jews, because at the end of the day, they should anyway be inside of the house. The Ma'arava Amre, in Eretz Yisrael, they said, Item Rabbi Yitzhak, and some people say Rabbi Yitzhak, Amar Kra. It says in the Pasuk, Vayomeru elav, Hayesara ishtecha, V'yom Nevaoed. So it's mashma, she doesn't go out of the house. So therefore, you see from here, Benot Yisrael nisheru ba'olehem. So therefore, also, Lo yan Neshe Amon Moav, right? Lekadema v'lechmayim. That means, look what we're saying. Just like the Jewish women would be in their houses, so to the wives of Ammon Moab would also be in their houses, and therefore we cannot obligate them or punish them in the fact that they didn't come out with bread and water to give to Bnei Yisrael when they left Egypt. Okay? So says the Gemara, 1 second. Ketanai. What do we say? This is a machlok ketanai. Why? It says, Lo yavo Ammoni velo Ammonit, Moavi velo Moavit. Tivrei Rabbi Yehuda. Says Rabbi Yehuda, there's a difference between the males and the females. Ammoni and Moavi, lo. Ammonit, the Moavit, yes. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon says, Al devar shelo kidmot kabalechem mayim darko shel ish lekadem. So why is this lo shayach v'nekevot? He comes and he says that the zerav Ammonit v'lo Moavi were permitted was because of the Tama Yisud, which is mefurash. So it comes out, and there's actually going to be a machlok b'tarim. What is the mekor to our Mishnah, right? Whether it's going to be because they make a zera, meaning like a dirasha, Ammoni v'lo Ammonit, Moavi v'lo Moavi, or according to Rabbi Shimon, look at the reason. Go according to the reason. Okay? They both agree though. That it's not going to be the female. So the question is, from where do you learn it? Do you learn it from a limud, or do you learn it from the svara? Which means that sometimes you take from the svara and you're going to say yes or no according to the reasoning behind it. So Darash Rava comes and he expounds and he says, yeah, my dispute, what does it mean in the pasuk? Pitachta lemoserai. Right? What does that mean, pitachta lemoserai? Right? You've opened up the, how do you call moserai when you're locked up? I don't know how you say that. Okay, when you unlock, right? So he comes and he says, right? Amar David, says David, Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono shel olam, Shnei moserot shayu alai. There were two different yokes on top of me, right? Pitachtam, and you open them up. What were the two of them? Ruth HaMoaviyah and Naamah HaMonit. Why? Right? The wife of Shlomo Melech, which was the son of David, right, was Imo shel Rehovam shemelach b'Yehuda la'acham Shlomo, right? And that's where all of Malchut David came out, right? So therefore, that was from Naamah HaMonit. Ruth HaMoaviyah was where from David HaMelech came from. So think about it. David HaMelech came from Ruth HaMoaviyah. That was the Ima shel Malchut, right? That was the great grandma, right? Now, Tzad Sheni, his grandson, right, was Rehovam. Rehovam was the son of Shlomo, right? Who did Rehovam come from? Naamah HaMonit. So it comes out that also because of the Ammonit and also because of the Moavit, he was going to have technical difficulties in his kingdom, right? So now he comes and he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I had two moserot, right? That's why it says, right, the Pitachta lemoserai. The moserai is plural. What do you mean plural? There were two of them, right? Because so says David in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shnei moserot shayu alai, I had two moserot on me, two yokes. What were the two different yokes? Also Naamah Monit, which is the wife of Shlomo Melech, the mother of the Rehovam, which is the continuation of the dynasty of David ben Yishai, and also of the dynasty of Yishai, because Yishai comes, the grandmother was from Ruth HaMoaviyah, Sierra Moaviyah and Ammonit, and you permitted it. That is Rava. Rava comes and expounded. My dikti, what does it mean in the pasuk? Rabot asita ata Hashem Elokeinu k'lotecha v'shkotecha aleinu. There's also a perek in Tehillim. And look how much He did for us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our God. All these niflaot and all these Elai, for us. מלמד שהיה רחבעם יושב בחלקו של דוד, ואמר לו, and he said, that means imagine, Rechavam was in the bosom of David HaMelech. He was in the what's it called? Yeah, he was in the chest of David HaMelech, and this is his grandfather. And he went and he told him, Alai ve'alecha ne'emu shtei hamikraot halalu, which means that he said, it's on me and it's on you. That means David HaMelech came and he said, it's on me and it's on you, right? This pasuk. That means this pasuk, it was said about you and me. Why? Because he said it's on us, which means that David HaMelech was saying, look, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, look what you did, that you permitted us. Right? That is Rav expounded another one. What does it mean in pasuk? Az amarti nebati b'megillat sefer k'tuv alai. Amar David, says David, Ani amarti, I said during the time when I went, right, and I became king through Shmuel HaNavi, ata bati legdula, I came to Gdula, ve'lo yadati shemegillat sefer, and I didn't know the Megillat Torah and the Sefer Torah k'tuv alai, that it was already written, right, that from the time of Abraham Avinu, that I was already going to be king. Meaning when they came and they anointed me for king, I didn't realize that already from the time of Abraham Avinu, they already came and they said that I was going to become king. Why? Because of this pasuk, because of Megillat Sefer, that basically it was going to be permitted for the how do you call it? For the Ammonite, right, and the Moabite to come into Kahal. So says the Gemara, in the Torah, it's written, Haninsaot ha, which means that Lot was told, come and take your daughters, which are ninsaot, which are found, right? Here in Tehillim it says, Ketiv matzati David avdi b'shemen kodshi meshachtiv. So since it says matzah in both cases, so he says, you see from here that when it says, Kach et ishtecha v'shte banecha v'notecha ninsaot, when it says by Lot, take your wife and your two daughters which are found, he comes and he says, those two daughters are the ones which are found, which is Ruth Moaviana, Ammonite, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved from Lot and Benotav, in order for David HaMelech to become king and his children to continue with their dynasty. Okay? Fine. Beautiful Gemara. Again, this is on David HaMelech. Amar Ula Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Says Ula name Rabbi Yochanan. Bat Ger Ammoni Keshera L'Keuna. So Bat Ger Ammoni is going to be kosher for Keuna. She's allowed to get married to a Kohen. Okay, so Elmaleh Rava bar Ula le'ula, says Rava bar Ula to Ula, Keman, who does this go like? If it goes like Rabbi Yehuda, Ha'amar, he already said, Bat Ger Zachar, Kebat Chalal Zachar. What does that mean? He says, if it's going to be a Bat Ger Zachar, even from an Em Yisraelit, right, it's like a Bat Chalal Zachar, right, which means, so Kol Sheken, if both of the parents are getting, that they're going to be pasul for Keuna. So therefore, a Bat Ger, right, Zachar, is like a Bat Chalal Zachar. They're pasul to getting married to Kohanim. The Ikar Rabbi Yosef, if it's going to be like Rabbi Yosef that he argues on Rabbi Yehuda and Nishan Kiddushin, Pshita, it's obviously Ha'amar Af Yesh Nesat Yora B'tok Shera L'Keuna. According to Rabbi Yosef, that he argues over there, he said over there that even a ger that gets married to a gioret, so Yevamos, two gerim, they come and they have a daughter. That daughter is kosher for Keuna, right? But usually it's not kosher for Keuna, you understand? Because we know that the daughter of a ger is not kosher for Keuna. Okay, so the Chitaim, if you're going to tell me we're talking about the ones which are fitting to come into the Kahal. But this one that's not fitting to come into the Kahal, lo. Menale, how do we know this? Diyali, because he learns it from the Kohen Gadol to Almanah. He learns it from the Kohen Gadol to Almanah. Malo Kohen Gadol to Almanah. It's just like Kohen Gadol to Almanah. Shekem biyato ba'avera. That there's an avera involved, meaning a Kohen Gadol cannot get married to an Almanah. So just like right now, right, it's going to come and it's going to do an avera. Malek halal sheken, right? So he says halal yofiach. What about a halal? Which means when you have a halal that comes from a bat Israel, right? The psul, right? She'ena psul bat talui b'biyat ha'av ba'avera. Right, but the halal is mutar b'bat Israel, and even though his daughter is psulat for Keuna, so if you see from here, the psul of a bat to the Kohen has nothing to do with the avera of the father. So malech halal she can see to ba'avera. One second, but a halal is made through an avera. What's a halal? You have somebody that comes with a kohenet, right? Or for example, a kohen that comes with a woman, there's psulat to him. So therefore he makes a halal. Okay? So he says, Kohen Gadol Yochiach, what about Kohen Gadol? Right? Why? The daughter has nothing to do with the father. Because the Kohen Gadol and still his daughter from the Almanah is Psula to the Kiuna. If he gets married to an Almanah, the daughter is a Halala. But he himself is not, he was never a Halal. It's Chazar Adin. Which means each one is not the same, but there's a common denominator between them. What's the common denominator between them? She'eno berova kahal, which is not going to be like the rest of Israel, because each one has a tzad pagum. Will be top psula, and the daughter is still psula for the kiuna. Afkan sotu ba'yegera muni, she'eno berova kahal, which is not going to be like the majority of Israel, and still the daughter is going to be pesula to the kiuna. So says the Gemara, Mala tzad sheyesh b'hem tzad avera. 1 second. But in the common denominator, it always had a tzad avera. There was always an avera involved in this type of matrimony, right? There was always something involved of an avera. So says the Gemara, no, dilma be'amoni shanasa bat Yisrael kamat. Maybe we're talking about an Ammoni that got married to a bat Yisrael. Remember, an Ammoni can never get married into the Kahal. He's a male. Ammoni can never. So what happens? After got to be a toba avera, is biaz an avera. It says bitok shera lekuna, but the daughter is still kosher for kehuna, right? Not like a Kohen Gadol to the Almanah. A Kohen Gadol to an Almanah, the daughter is a Halala. I get Ammoni, which he's not allowed to come into Kahal, that he goes with a Bat Yisrael, the daughter is kosher for kehuna. So Elmaleh, he says, in Techiyat Rabbi Yochanan, Bat Yeramoni, Bat Sheni, Rabbi Yochanan Keshera, the Shaki Shomar Psula. Rabbi Yochanan says that the daughter is going to be Keshera for kehuna, and the Shaki says the daughter is going to be Psula to the kehuna. The Shaki says Psula, Tialit Sami Kohen Gadol Mana. He's going to go Kohen Gadol Mana. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Keshera. Rabbi Yochanan says it's going to be Keshera. Ein Zayin Mubet 77b. The Tani Rabbi Zakai Kamed Rabbi Yochanan. The start of Rabbi Zakai in front of Rabbi Yochanan. Right? Kim Betula Me'ama Vikach Isha. Remember that the Kohen Gadol is the only one that's going to a Betula, right? Because basically, how do you call it? The Kohen Idiot is not to get married to an Almanah. Right? He doesn't have to get married to, right? He doesn't have to get married to a Betula either. As long as obviously she wasn't with a Goy, right? She's still kosher for Kehuna. As long as she's still kosher for Kehuna, that's fine. Right? So he says, Kim Betula Me'ama Vikach Isha Lavi Gioret Mikana. What does that mean? It says here this is coming to include a Gioret, right, from the beginning. Shehik Shera Lekehuna, which is going to be kosher for Kehuna. Elmaleh, he says, Ani Shoneh, I'm going to teach Amav. What does Amav? Kim Betulat Amav Vikach Isha. So Lavi Betulat Abba Mishnah Minim. This comes to include a Betula from the two different nations. Atamarta Gioret Mikana Betulo. So you're going to say it's only from the Gioret from both sides. It's going to be kosher for Kehuna, not another one. So it's mashma that according to Rabbi Yochanan, Abat Gera Muni Israelit Keshera Lekehuna. Comes out it's going to be kosher for the Kehuna. So you have a Gera Muni with a Israelit kosher for Kehuna, the child. So my Shnei Amanim would be the two different nations. If you're going to tell me it's Ammoni Shenasa Ammonit, it's a Goy with a Goya, but they're both from Ammon. Why do you need to do two Ammonim? Even Zecharim Asurim, Kevo Mutarot. So I know Gioret Mikana, Ela Ammoni Shenasa Bat Yisrael. We're talking about Ammoni that got married to a Bat Yisrael. Why? Because their daughter is not considered a Gioret Mikana, because since the mother is Israelite, right? So therefore, it's not Mikana from its nest. And still, it's going to be kosher to get married to a Kohen. Some people say, Elmaleh, says Rabbi Yochanan to Rabbi Zakai, Ani Shoneh Amav. What does it mean, Amav? Me Amav le'avi betula ba mishnah minim. Even if you're going to have a betula coming from the two different nations, ume'am sheyesh bo shnei minim, from two different ones. Uve'at amarta is Gioret, and you're going to tell me now Gioret Mikana, which means the two parents are going to be goyim, that they're going to convert. The two law and no other the case. So you see from here that since it says Amav, Me Amav, we're talking about a Bat Gera Moni Israelit, and Rabbi Yochanan says it's still kosher for Kehuna. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara, Ulhach Lishna, and according to this Lashon, Bat Mitzri Sheni B'Kshar LaKehuna Menale. How do we know when we're talking about a male Bat Mitzri Sheni that is going to be kosher for Kehuna? If you're going to tell me now, Ammoni that we learn from Ammoni Shenasa Bat Yisrael, Male Ammoni Shenasa Bat Yisrael Sheken Nekevot Mutarot. 1 second. The Nekevot are going to be permitted. So he says, Mitzri Sheni Shenasa Mitzri Sheni Yochya. He says, what about a Mitzri Sheni? To a Mitzri Sheni, which means you have on both sides Mitzri Sheni. Remember that the way that Mitzri goes is that they're only allowed to come to Kahal after the third generation. So ever since after the third generation, you have the Mitzri Rishon, he gets married to Mitzri Rishon. Their child becomes a Mitzri Sheni. He has to get married to a Mitzri Sheni or onwards, and then the child becomes a Shlishi. So it's a third generation. So he comes and he says, Mala Mitzri Sheni. Right? He says, Shenasa Mitzri Sheni Shikenem Biato Ba'avera. There, the Mitzri Sheni is not to be to a Mitzri Sheni. There's no Avera. And therefore, his daughter is kosher for Kiuna. So you can't learn with a Mitzri Sheni to the get married to a regular Bat Israel, right? Which was an Avera, right? The same thing. So he says, Amoni Shenasa Bat Israel Yokiach L'Chazar Adin. He says, yeah, but what about an Amoni that got married to a Bat Israel? An Amoni, for sure, there was an Avera. Because remember, Ammon is never allowed to come to Bnei Israel, right? The males. So he says, L'Chazar Adin, and then we go back and we say that we make the Tzad HaShava Shebayim, the common denominator. Amar Rav Yosef, says Rav Yosef, I know the Shamana Leder Rabbi Yehuda Amar, that's what we heard from Rabbi Yehuda Amar be'amav, ve'lo yadanu me'kamar. He used to say all the time, Amar, ki metulah me'ekar me'amav, Amar. And we never understood what he meant when he said Amav be'amav. Now we just understood what he meant. So Kiata Shmuel Bar Yehuda, so Shmuel Bar Yehuda came and he said, Amar ha'chitanin kameh. This is what he taught in front of him. Isha monit keshera, and Isha monit is going to be kosher. Bena me'amoni pasul, but her child from an amoni is going to be pasul. B'ita me'amoni keshera, but the daughter from amoni is going to be keshera. But when we're talking about amoni ve'amoni sheikairu, we're talking about amoni that they converted. But if it's going to be the daughter from amoni, is going to be sula. Elmaleh, he says, Puktani lebra, go teach us outside of the Midrash, because it's not true. Because according to Shittat Rabbi Yochanan, as we already mentioned before, you're allowed, if an Ammoni has relations with the Bat Israel, the child is kosher for Kehuna. That's the Shittat of Rabbi Yochanan. My Diamata, that what you said, Isha Ammonit Keshera, Ammoni v'lo Ammonit. We just said it, Ammoni v'lo Ammonit. Right? That means it's only the males, not the females. Okay? Bena me'Ammonit pasul. When you say Bena Ammoni, the Ammoni, he's an Ammoni. Ubita me'Ammoni keshera lemai. What does that come to? Ile, maybe you're going to tell me that she's allowed to come to Kahal, to get married to the Kahal. Hashta imak keshera. The mother is going to be koshera. Himi bai, then she's the question. If she's an Ammonit, 100% Ammonit, she converts, she's allowed to come to the Kahal? Yes. So now, if right now the daughter, thank you. Right? So Ela rather lekiuna. Rather, we're talking about what is keshera, not the vobekal. Vobekal, it's pashut. Ela keshera. We're talking about lekiuna. When these words, the Ammoni ve'Ammonit shenitgaru when they converted. Aval bitam Ammoni psulam. My bitam Ammoni. What does that mean? If you're going to tell me it's Ammoni that it's a male to a female, we're talking about Ammoni. So that's already Gioret mikana. Right? That's like Gioret from the beginning. Ela Ammoni shenasa bat Israel. So Elmaleh comes and he tells him, why? Because he wanted to say the same thing, that even a bat geram Israelit, keshera lekehuna. Okay? Fine. Two dots. Mitzri va'adomi enan asurim. Yeah, the Mitzri and Adomi are not going to be asurim. My teshuvah. What is the teshuvah exactly that we're talking about now, the kavachomen of Rabbi Shimon? So Amar Rabbi Yochanan you should be kalamimar arayot yochifu, because we want to come and we want to say the arayot is going to bring a proof. Shelo asar bahen el shlosha dorot, echad zechari ve'echad nekevot. That it didn't want to prohibit them until 3 generations, whether it's the males or the females. Okay, so this is what does it mean? Here we're talking about, we're learning kavachomen from arayot that it only prohibited 3 generations. Again, obviously we're talking about the Mitzri, right, and in Adomi. So it says over here, because since we're learning from the Kavachomer from Arayot, it was only 3 generations, whether it's the males or the females. So too the Mitzri Adomi, even though they're not going to be Asurim until 3 generations, we're talking about the males and the females. Maila Arayot, 1 second. Arayot, there's karet in it. Right? That's why it's going to be males and females together. So we can't learn it from them. So he says Mamzer Yochiach. What about a Mamzer? Why? Even sometimes when there's not going to be karet, it still made the females like the males. Because Biat Mamzer, there's no karet. Nevertheless, the child, right, is Asur level Bekal. Okay? So he says, fine, Mala Mamzer Shekin Royavo Bekal Leolam. Mamzer can never get married to the Kal. One more time. How do you make a Mamzer? You make a Mamzer by somebody going with an immoral relations, right? And therefore, which basically it's going to come out the Mamzer. But now if a person has relations with a Mamzer, do they get karet? They don't get karet. But if they have a child, the child will be Mamzer. Okay, but meaning that it continues going. Okay? So he comes and he says, but the mamzer is always leolam. So he says, arayot yochi. What about arayot? Chazaradim, lo leizek, leizek, leizek. That's how shmachmahem. She'asurim, that means they're not allowed to get married to them. It doesn't matter whether it's a male or female. So too, he's going to bring them mitzri, mitzri. So therefore, that's why it's going to be whether it's male or females. A mitzri, whether male or females, it's going to be the same halakha. It's going to be prohibited. So says the Gemara, fine. Mala tzad hashava shebehen sheken yesh bahen tzad karet. 1 second. There's a karet, meaning arayot, right? And mamzer. There was a karet involved there. So what are you now bringing me to do with the mitzri vadomit makeshet? So he comes and he says, but according to the rabbis, they learned the tzad hashava from a halal. Which is going to be a positive commandment, like Rabbi Yaakov, which means like this. To do with the almanah to the kohen gadol, it's a positive commandment. There's no karet, right? But still, the child becomes a halal, or halalat. So therefore, what happens is he comes and he says the same thing over here. Even though there's no karet, it would still make, whether it's going to be mamzerut, it would still make whatever the cases are. So, my loki, what does it mean now? No, because of. So he says, this is what it means. I don't hold the Rabbi Yaakov that is the halal from a positive commandment. Okay? But according to you, that you hold like Rabbi Yaakov. Halakha ani omer. So then I'm going to say halakha that the females of a mitzri vadomi are going to be permitted immediately, and therefore you have to accept. Meaning like this, if you remember, what do we say? We said that by the mitzri and vadomi, there's no difference between males and females, 3 generations. But we wanted to say that there is going to be a difference between that it should be permitted for the females. Because just like the Ammoni and Ammonit, it was permitted the females, right? And not the males. So 2 years should be permitted the females. So he comes now and he says like this. He says, Tanya, we went to the right, he says, I'm telling you halakha, that this is what I accepted. That the girls are permitted. And not only that, I'm bringing you a proof from a pasuk. Because it says, right? He says only boys, not girls. So Tanya Rabbanan, we also went to the right, the banim. These are the words of Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, banim should do the leida. No, it's ibaledu. It's leida. Nothing to do with the banim. So Rabbi Yochanan says, love the Rabbi Yehuda. If it wasn't for Rabbi Yehuda, lo matzei, we would have actually said that. Kevin Damarmor was more says, kahal gerim ikrekala. Kahal of gerim are called the kahal, and therefore you're not allowed to get married to them. So mitzri sheni b'mayitar. So then how are you going to come and permit a mitzri sheni? So obviously it has to be that you have to permit him in this form. And therefore, obviously, that's what we're saying, that we wouldn't have found on our hands and feet in the Beit HaMikdash if it wasn't for the fact that he said that it's talui b'leida, not talui b'banim. So it was talui b'banim, be'emet it would have been banim v'lo banot. Right? And be'emet the banot would have been permitted immediately, just like Ammonit, the Moabit. But now we're saying no. We'll continue with Hashem tomorrow.